Bezrat Hashem, in the upcoming Yomtov, the Torah is telling us that on Yomtov you're allowed to cook for sake of ochel nefesh. Torah says, Ach asher yachel lechol nefesh adam, hu levado ya'aseh lachem. Whatever is eaten for nefesh, ochel nefesh, people are eating it, you're allowed to do it for yourself. Gemara in Masechet Beitzah ask why the Torah says, hu levado ya'aseh lachem. Lachem in Hebrew means for you. Says the Gemara to teach us that on Yom Tov we are allowed to cook for you, but we're not allowed to cook for not-Jewish people. If a person right now has a goy that he wants to invite for the Yomtov table, and he wants to tell his wife, Jonah, I want you to cook right now shashlik. I want you to cook something that it is, let's say this goy likes baksh, I like palo. Please cook for this person baksh, a certain dish that he likes. He likes French fries, he likes whatever it is. So the wife goes to the kitchen and she turns the fire from fire to fire on Yom Tov, and she's cooking the French fries for who? For the goy. That's not allowed. The Torah says, Hu levado ya'aseh lachem. Only to Jewish people you're allowed to cook on the Yom Tov. You're not allowed to cook for goyim. I remember there was one time a person that his son came to me and he asked me, Rabbi, you know what happened to me on Rosh Hashanah? I said, what? He says, before Rosh Hashanah, I moved an apartment. My family moved apartment. So my father has a few friends that they are the goyim, Uzbekim. Said they came, they helped. So the father wanted to show gratitude, akarat hatov, to this goyim. And he says, come to my holiday table. We're going to sit together. He said, they came. Now, only 2 Uzbekim helped me. He said, they brought 10 people to the table. He said, you know, I sit Rosh Hashanah table. Me, my father, 10 Uzbekim around the table. I didn't know to say Kaddish on them or to say Kaddish on us. We didn't know to... He said, there were so many people over there, the goyim. He said, Rabbi, was it allowed or no? I told him this halakha, that on Yom Tov, you cannot cook for goyim. You're only allowed to cook for Yehudim. Now, a person asked me a few days ago, he said, Rabbi, what if a person right now has a relative, is Mechalel Shabbat, Chas v'shalom? What, am I allowed to invite him? There's many times in halakha that Mechalel Shabbat is a questionable in halakha, what's his status? So the halakha says like this, there is 7 exceptions that a person is allowed to bring into his house on Yom Tov, somebody is Mechalel Shabbat in order to make kiruv, to bring him closer to Hashem. It says the first thing, the Moshe Feinstein says, if the person is Mechalel Shabbat befaresia, because he is doing it for sake of parnasa. He's not doing it because he doesn't care about God. He believes in God. He wears tefillin, he says kiddush, he just doesn't have enough parnasa and he thinks it's okay, Rabbi, Hashem will forgive me. Even though it's a very big sin to work on Shabbat. Nilzav Shabbat Rabotetz. But he thinks Hashem will forgive me. I need to pay the bills, and he's going chas v'shalom like this on Shabbat, goes to work. He says this person, says Moshe Feinstein, in the Chelek Aleph in Siman Lamed Gimel, you have whom to rely to bring him to the Yomtov table in order to talk to him about Tshuva, about Derech Eretz, about the holiday, to bring him closer. He says second one is, if a person will not break the Shabbat in front of an important person. You know, one time I was walking to give shiur in one of the synagogues, and the person was smoking a cigarette down the road. Jewish person. As soon as he saw me, he was hiding the cigarette behind, you know, the fingers when you hide the cigarette like this. Like this. So the rabbi will not see it. So whenever I realized that he moved like the hand like this, and I understood the Gemara in Masechet Yeruvin, that the Gemara says, if there is a person, he breaks the Shabbat, lo alenu, he's not close to Hashem yet, he's coming back. And he's going to hide the cigarette away from the rabbi. He's going to hide his chilul Shabbat away from the rabbi's eyes. He's also considered to be a person that you can welcome to your Yom Tov table. It says the third exception is if a person, lo alenu, has a child that is mechalel Shabbat. Mother, shomer Shabbat. Father, shomer Shabbat. Child, lo shomer Shabbat, lo alenu. Now you want to cook, but you want to cook for him also. What to do? Says over here, Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. It says, since not to make balagan between the father, the mother, and the child, it says it's called Shat Adah HaGadol. There is room to rely on to cook for that child as well. It says the fourth point is a person that he is making kiddush on Friday. He comes to the synagogue to pray on the Friday at least. He says, Baruch Atah Hashem Kadesh Shabbat. He gives some sort of respect to the Shabbat. It's also considered to be a kosher person that we can invite him over the Yom Tov table. Another exception is if a person grew up not knowing anything. Many of the people that grew up in Soviet Russia, you know, over there, Sovietsky Soyuz, over there, many people didn't know anything about Torah, about mitzvot. So says Rav Eliashiv, It says that people that came from these places, they're also considered to be kosher people in order to invite them for the Yomtov table. The sixth exception is if a person is less than 13 years old. Person that he is goes to public school, he doesn't know anything. He mechalel Shabbat. What can you do with him? So it says this type of person, let's say it's your nephew, let's say it's your cousin. You want to bring him over for the Yomtov table. But he's like mechalel Shabbat, Rabbi. Nevertheless, says the halakha over here, that if he's less than 13 years old, even though he sins, he makes a big problem. But your job is to bring him closer. Bring him closer to the Torah, bring him closer to the mitzvot, and you will be allowed to invite him over. And the seventh point over here says, is that if a person grew up by parents that they are mechalel Shabbat. Parents taught him all the time, on Shabbat you go to work. On Shabbat you're supposed to go to the beach. Different chilulei Shabbat. So since he grew up by parents that they mechalel Shabbat, he brings a proof from the Rambam. The Rambam in Sefer Mamrim, in Perek Gimel, Halakha Gimel. Says the Rambam, listen up to this. This is something that many people question all the time. Says Rambam, Aval bnei ato'im, people that they are lost on the way, their children, ubnei bneihem, and their grandchildren, she'edichu otam avotam, they were removed from the right path of the Torah, harei hu ketinok shenishba bneihem, they are considered to be as tinok shenishba, person doesn't know. Vegideluhu ve'eno zariz le'echos bedarkei mitzvot, he is not so fast to come back to the Torah, to the mitzvot. She'arei hu ke'anus, this is the words of the Rambam, he is called anus. ואף על פי ששמע אחר כך שהוא יהודי וראה יהודים ודתם הרי הוא כאנוס שהרי גידלוהו על טעותם. Says the Rambam, even though they told him, listen, you're Jewish, and he saw Jewish people, he saw Jewish websites, he saw Jewish behaviors, says the Rambam, but he grew up the wrong way. His parents told him Shabbat is nonsense, Torah is nonsense, chas v'shalom. So this child is considered to be, says the Rambam, even though he saw Jewish people, even though he saw rabbis, even so he saw religious people, nevertheless, says the Rambam, because he was raised in the wrong way, he's also considered to be a tinok shenishba. So since he's tinok shenishba, you're allowed to welcome him to your Yomtov table and talk divrei Torah to him, tell him something interesting. This way he's going to bring back this person to Torah and mitzvot. Rabotai, don't forget in Shavuot, all Am Yisrael were together. Vayichan Yisrael keneged ahar. Am Yisrael were together keish echad belev echad. That's the whole point of Shavuot, that we all should feel in the heart that we all together. When Am Yisrael are together, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Hashem is going to give us the Torah this upcoming Shavuot, and this is going to be a good decree for the upcoming year to all Am Yisrael. V'chavod amar Rabbi Elazar.